Welcome to 2022, everybody, and what a god-awful first video that I have to make. This was just terrible from Oxford United today. I have no other word to say it. It was awful, really, from the start. There you go, I found another word. Terrible, awful. You can pick any terrible, awful word you like. Yeah, well beaten, deserved to be beaten. It ended Lincoln City 2, Oxford United 0. If it isn't the worst performance of the season, I'm struggling to find another one. That's two very lacklustre performances in 2022 now. Let's have a quick chat. So we had a chance to go third today, and we blew it. We blew it massively. And there's no positives to take out of this game today. Absolutely none. It was just, we're going to go through it, but it was just absolutely terrible. And, fair play to Lincoln and credit to Lincoln. They desperately need the points for having a bad season, and they thoroughly deserve to win and could have beat us by more. Where to start? So McNally came in today for Thornley, but other than that, a really strong Oxford United lineup, and I don't think many of us really expected this result and this performance today. I think a lot of us expected Oxford to turn up, play well, beat a side that's struggling down the bottom of the league, but that did not happen at all. And right from the start of the game, Matty Taylor missed a one-on-one chance, and it was a really weak effort from Taylor. And everything just fell off from that moment. Lincoln carved us open time and time again, either down the wings or through the middle of the pitch. They seemed to just be able to just run right through the middle of us. And, we were lucky to not be down 1-0 earlier than we were. And they are a side that's, I think they're in a false position. I mean, they look a lot more open than they were last season, but they look good going forward, and you can't deny it. And their new signing, Whittaker, was amazing. I thought he was fantastic today. The fullbacks supported him and Scully so well. The likes of McGrandles dominated in midfield. Chris Maguire played great. We know Chris Maguire's a good player, and he played really well today. And he nearly scored early on. He would have to make a great save, tipping a stinging shot onto the bar. But Oxford just didn't learn. That was just so frustrating in that first half. Oxford just didn't learn from mistakes, and it was telling that Monsma went off for Lincoln. There must have been about a 10-minute delay while he was going off the pitch, and Robinson was very animated on the sideline, barking orders and instructions at the Oxford players, telling them what we're doing wrong. But virtually from that kick, from the restart, Oxford went 1-0 down. So it's almost like they just didn't listen to what Carl Robinson said. It just was a very easy goal for Lincoln, really. I mean, Scully found himself in acres of space, no one around him, got to the edge of the box, wonderful finish. What can I say? I would actually say from that moment where we conceded, and maybe the first 5 or 10 minutes of the second half, was Oxford's probably best period of the game. And we put Lincoln under a bit of pressure. Taylor had a goal disallowed for offside. That seems to be an every single week occurrence now. But you felt Oxford could have got back into the game at that point. I felt that Marcus McGuane played okay when he came on. He certainly tailed off. But there weren't too many shining stars. And a second goal you felt was going to come for Lincoln. And it did come. And again, it came from some really bad defending. We had a throw-in that we just literally gifted them a corner from our own throw-in. We failed to clear that corner. I think Long just passed the ball to Scully. He was able to literally side foot past it along our penalty area. Then Maguire tried to win a penalty. It fell to Whittaker, and he just buried it into the bottom corner. He couldn't have had more space if he tried. So those were the goals. Oxford didn't really look like getting back into it after that point, despite Lincoln really tiring. And you could sense that if Oxford could have got a goal back, it could have been nervy for them, but we didn't. And disastrous, really. I mean, look at these things here. Brannagan goes off injured, which looks, well, we don't know, but you suspect it looked pretty bad. They didn't even try and wait till half time to see if he was okay, and they brought Maguire on, right virtually at the end of the first half. But that looks a bad one, and it looks like we're going to be missing him for a few games now. Kane gets a red card in a game where there were a ton of bad challenges. Eventually, Kane's the one that is deemed to be too bad, and he gets a red card. It's not going to be overturned, so it doesn't really matter whether we think it is a red card or not, but I'd like to know your thoughts on it. I'm going to guess if you're a Lincoln fan, you think it was. If you're an Oxford fan, you think it was slightly harsh. Considering there were no yellow cards given out before that point, it seemed a little bit of an overreaction. But that's him out now, isn't it? 3 games out for Kane, and we really saw the limitations of an attacking midfield today for Oxford United, which Lincoln just seemed to bypass very, very easily. So that's going to have to change for games, very difficult games now, coming up against Wycombe and Sheffield Wednesday in the next couple of weeks, and we've got missing 2 key players. But I'd have to just say on Kane, a great football player, but hasn't really provided too much, hasn't scored, hasn't really provided too many assists, but you are going to miss his calm head and his calm presence on the field. But we have got Henry back, he can play in there, Maguire can play in there, and also maybe we can bring in a player, hey? Transfer window's open, maybe we can bring in a player. But as I say, Oxford were just off it today, everybody was off it. Sam Long really poor. I think Steve Seddon gave it a go. I mean, he was very poor defensively, but he kept trying to get forward and create something. But every time it seemed to be a good pass that followed up with a bad pass, or a good touch was followed up by a sloppy touch. I thought Taylor was really poor up front today as well. And that this one's got to be quickly forgotten and quickly put to bed. There's one thing that really annoys me. I hate when Oxford have a week off between games. We were not good against Cheltenham. We have a week off going into this one, and we turn up and we just play absolute shite. And it bugs the hell out of me of just thinking, well, what was the game plan here? What was the tactics? Because Lincoln looked like they got their tactics spot on, and Oxford were miles off it today. But interesting to know your thoughts. Interesting to know whether you're an Oxford fan or a Lincoln fan, your thoughts on this one. And fair play to Lincoln. Really much better than us today, and deservedly got the 3 points. And where do we go from here? We've got some difficult games. There's going to be some doom and gloom in the comments, I'm sure. But we did blow a really good chance to go high up the table. And if you thought, games against home, against Cheltenham, away against Lincoln, you'd have thought we'd got more than 1 point out of those 2 games. So we've got to improve against better opposition in the next few weeks. Yeah, I've probably missed some stuff, so let me know in the comments. But other than that, hit like, hit subscribe, and let's just try and forget about this one. Happy 2022.